Bogus Nights.
Bogus Nights. But it was happy. It made him a hero.
I'm sure it was very entertaining to your average
I'm average
folk out there in America and in a small town bored with nothing else. To this day, I could never even see the end of it.
It had a good ending.
I kept thinking, "Oh my God!"
So, in your opinion, this movie was a completely inaccurate portrayal of the industry, or John?
It was of John, of somewhat of the industry. I mean, it was loosely based on everything.
John wasn't a one-dimensional person, and although I really like Mark Wahlberg, I think that the presentation of John is one-dimensional. I know it was inspired. It was supposed to be inspired by the life of John, so you can cut it some slack that way. But when I watch that film, and I actually don't mind it, but I just don't see John
as
in the
Val
role
Kilmer.
of Dirk Diggler.
I don't see John and Val Kilmer
from the Wonderland one.
I think Val Kilmer could have played a wonderful John had he had been given the right character to play.
Right. And you know what? It is a shame that on both of these films, based on your husband, that they didn't call you, that they didn't hire you as a consultant.
They had their own agenda. Leave it at that.
I guess so.
Pretty much selling tickets. So they have to write a story somewhere in there.
Right.
What's your fondest memory of John?
My fondest memory of John, just his laughter anywhere.
Oh.
He was a great practical joker, and he was full of life. There was so much to this person. There was a man, there's a myth, and there will always be a legend.
Always. He is the king, and always will be. Now, okay, we know you're married to John. He is the king. He's awesome. But what about you, Laurie Holmes? Because how did you meet this guy? How did he and you hook up, get married, all that stuff? Tell us about you.
Well, I met him on a set in San Francisco back in the early 80s, and I was very mesmerized by him, and it just kind of went from there. And we had our company Penguin going back then, and there were a lot of things going on, and I was with him the last 5 years of his life. And I was just a young thing, too.
And you still are, baby. You are.
Oh, thank you.
The first time I ever met John Holmes, I think the first and only time was in '85 for Paradise Visuals on the set of W Pink. Mm-hmm. I didn't work with him. Another girl did, but I remember thinking he was quiet, he was reserved, he was an absolute doll.
Were you
yes.
Yes.
Not only that, and I'm going to tell you a sex story. I hope you don't get offended. There was a makeup artist, Alexis, and she's like, "Christy, get over here. Look at how big his cock is." And sure enough, and I had never seen it at 18, anything that huge in my life. And she stood in front of him.
Still haven't.
No, she's just, he was huge. She stood in front of him, and his cock went between her legs. And then I stood, with my tits to her back. His cock went through my legs, and there was still room for one more girl to butt up against me.
Not a wonderful thing.
How big are we talking? How many inches is John? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, she's pointing at
There's
the
a
book.
good picture in the book.
Where? Tell me. We're looking through the
beginning.
book. We're sitting with the co-authors of John Holmes, A Life Measured in Inches. This book comes out tomorrow, 8/8/8. Tell me about why you picked that date. What's up with that?
August 8th is John's birthday. He would have been 64 years old.
You know what? In the Chinese and the whole Asian thing, that's a very good number anyway. It's very good feng shui, all the eights.
Yeah, and another reason why 888, besides being such a good date to remember, is it's 20 years since John passed away, and also 20 years since the Freeman decision, which effectively legalized making pornography in the state of California.
Hollywood Video. And that man went on trial.
He was wonderful.
Fought his own defense and won. The government, a month later, died of a heart attack. But you know what? He fucking not just paved the road for most of us. He knocked down the walls.
I'm looking for a picture of his dick. Can you help me out with that? I'm sorry.
We got paper rolls in studio. Their website, if you want to get a copy, johnholmesinches.com. In studio right now, 877-205-9796. Night Calls with Vanessa Blue and Christy Canyon.
How did you get all of it? Before she shows me the picture so I can really be impressed, how'd you get all of it up there?
How do women have babies?
You know what? I love that. And when you're in love, and when you really love somebody, you take it.
Right.
Your pussy just gets wet. It gets.
That's right.
You just want to take it all, and you want more.
That's right. That's right.
And you probably, with him working, you were working, it's not like every night you were doing it anyway. So when you did get him, it was special. It meant something.
Right, it did.
You know them sausages you buy at the grocery store that go around in a circle? What's them?
yeah.
Them Hillshire Farms?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of Hillshire Farms, kielbasa. Yeah, we'll go with
Well,
that.
if you really want to see more of that, I have some news as well. 8808, and that is that the estate of John Holmes Enterprises, and JohnHolmes.com has opened up the vaults and have put out some never before seen footage, some raw, awesome old masters. And it is available through JohnHolmes.com by going to the video on demand, or you can go straight to JohnHolmesVOD.com. And we've got it's the basement tapes, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and more to come.
Now, the basement tapes, is that home footage with the two of you, or if you brought somebody in?
It's old movies.
Okay.
They're old masters, and they've been re-edited, digitized, and it's never before seen footage.
Now, in that vault, because you know what? You're going to have a million people going on to JohnHolmes.com. He's always will be a legend. In that vault, whatever happened to that infamous ring that he used to wear all the time? Was it like a class ring?
The butterfly ring or the initial ring?
Initial ring. Yes. I always remember John Holmes had this big gold initial ring.
With his initials. It was a diamond ring, actually. And his mother has it.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, very, very nice. Do you keep in touch, Laurie Holmes, with a lot of people still in the adult business? I mean, I know I met you a few years ago and we passed. There was Ron Jeremy and Jason, Paradise Visuals. What about in general, was it Bill Amerson?
No, I have no contact with him.
They were very good friends, though, for a while, weren't they?
Something like that.
Okay, so it didn't end too great then.
Right.
Throughout the years, I used to hear a lot about him through Bill Margold, of course, as well as Alexis, which was Ron Vogel's daughter.
Right, Alexis Vogel. Very good makeup artist.
Yes, wasn't she just...
she was awesome.
Yes. Now, at your book signing tomorrow, which is at Book Soup in Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, again, you can find out more about that signing from 7 to 9, JohnHolmesInches.com. Who else is going to be there? I mean, not that you three lovely, beautiful ladies aren't enough, but let's talk about the other people, the special guest.
Bill Margold will MC the event. Cass Paley will also be speaking about John.
Whoa! I got a note.
And director of the Johnny Wad series, Bob Chin, will be there. And I will also be reading a letter written by an actress who worked with John many times, but that's for people to find out about tomorrow. Little surprise.
And what's in? I was just going to say, after the event, it's going to be followed by a free screening of Eruption at the Silent Movie Theater at 611 North Fairfax, and it is being presented by a vintage collector, and we have permission from VCX to show Eruption, and so we're really thrilled about that too, because it ties in beautifully with the signing. And
what was Eruption? Was that one of his first movies?
One of John's best films. He does all of his own stunt work. It's actually a parody of Double Indemnity, the 1944 classic, and it's John Holmes, Leslie Beauvais, who did co-star with him in about 3 films. They were all very popular films, shot in Hawaii, of course, shot on film, and it's one of John's, it's probably one of the highlights of his film career. Our book does really cover John's film career very extensively.
Now, there's a lot of other books and media out there about John. What different have you learned in your book that, other books haven't covered?
Well, actually, this is, besides John's autobiography, Porn King, which you can still get as an ebook at johnholmes.com, this is the only biography devoted solely to John Holmes' entire life. Other aspects of his life have been covered in part in other books, but this covers everything very deeply.
Very in-depth. I read it, and it's a big, thick book, and it's so fascinating. How was it trying to find a publisher for your book, John Holmes, A Life Measured in Inches? What was that like? Because several girls... Ron Jeremy being the only man so far. This is the second one on a male porn star that I know of. How was it finding somebody to touch this book?